Hello book people and welcome to my channel. My name is Nana and today I'm going to talk about thrillers, mystery books, scary books, in that genre. So I have the classic thrillers first, and then I have some mystery books, and then I have some YA mystery thriller books as well. So I think that's the order that I'm gonna talk about the books. So yeah, that's what we are gonna do today. I do want to mention I'm not into thrillers, crime books where a police officer is solving a murder mystery. That's usually not my thing. There are a lot of Danish and Swedish and Norwegian authors that are writing these kinds of books, and it's all over my library in Denmark, but those books are not my thing. The thrillers I like to read, there could also be a murder mystery there, but it's not done with that whole police investigation, and it's not that heavy as well. That's not my thing. A bit more light. It gets too much for me when kids or animals or, I don't want to read about that. So it is thrillers, but they are a bit more light. And the first books I want to talk about is by McAllister. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm so sorry. And I have read The Silent Patient and The Maidens by him. And these books have a lot of plot twists to them, and I think that's why they're so popular, and they have been all over BookTube. A lot of people are loving The Silent Patient a lot more than The Maidens, and that's the same for me. But let's talk about The Silent Patient first. And you do follow Theo, who is a psychotherapist. And he gets this job at this, what's it called? I'm not exactly sure, but when you have mental problems, so you don't go to prison, but you go to this, I can't remember. Anyways, he gets a job there, and at this place there's this woman, Alicia, who shot her husband in the head, and both Alicia and her husband were famous, so this case have been all over the media, and that's why Theo knows about it, and he's really interested in that case. And I'm not gonna spoil anything else, but things are happening. There are a lot of plot twists. I think most people that read this book have been so surprised about what happened. And I think that's why so many people are liking it. I also read The Maidens by McAllister. And in this book you do follow Mariana. And Mariana gets a call one day from her niece that her niece's best friend have been murdered on their campus, and Mariana goes there, and Mariana is also, she's a group therapist, not a psychiatrist, but a therapist. I think the reason why people liked The Silent Patient a bit more than The Maidens is that Mariana is also trying to solve this crime, but it feels really convenient. I still enjoyed the book. I still enjoyed the plot twist and everything. It just felt a little bit more unlikely. So if you can look aside that, it is still a good thriller. It is still exciting to read, but it does feel a little bit more convenient than The Silent Patient. But anyways, I still enjoyed myself. So check McAllister out if you're into thrillers where you have to solve a crime, but it's not that heavy. Or at least it didn't feel like that for me. It felt more like a really good TV show where you're like eating popcorn. So yeah, that's the feeling that I got from these two books. The next book is called The Death of Mrs. Westaway. This is more YA, as I recall, young adult. And you do follow Hal, who gets a call one day that she has been mentioned in this will. And she's like, I don't know this Mrs. Westaway, but we do have the same last name. And then she goes there, and everyone is thinking that she is Mrs. Westaway's niece, and she's like, I think this is a mistake, but I do really need the money. And she's a bit back and forth of what to do. Then a lot of things are happening with Mrs. Westaway's family. I don't want to spoil anything more, but there are also some plot twists in this book. It was also really interesting. This is also a really easy thriller to get through. It's not like, whoa, this was such a good book, but it was Again, a nice popcorn read. And if you do like family drama and stuff like that, maybe this book could work really well for you. So yeah, that was that book. The next book is called One Place, One Time by Gillian McAllister. I think this book has also been in Reese Witherspoon's book club. I really enjoyed this thriller. I think I gave it 4 stars, something like that. You do follow this mother, Jen, and she has a son who's 18 years old, Todd, and then her husband. And she's waiting up for her son, and then she sees him committing this murder. And she's like, that's not my son. Or that's not how he behaves. And they go to the police station. They're trying to solve this. The next morning she wakes up, and she wakes up the day before. And then she keeps doing that. And that was so interesting. I love books about time traveling. Combine that with solving a crime worked really well for me. So this is one of my favorite thrillers, I think. So yeah, if you are into time traveling and mystery, this was really a good read as well. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil much more about these books because that would just ruin the experience for you. So I'm going to keep it a little bit short. But anyways, this book was definitely one of the better thrillers that I have read. The next thriller I also really enjoyed, and I know that HBO also made a TV show about this book. I did see that, and that was also really nice. It's called The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney. You do follow Emma and Jane, but it is at separate timelines. And it centers around Falgate Street, where this house is. And Emma and Jane are both tenants at this house. It's a bit weird. The process is a bit weird to become a tenant of this house, because you do have to go through this progress of applying. They need the right person to live at this house, because it's more like an architectural study on how to live. So it's a bit weird, the process of this. But both Emma and Jane gets accepted to rent this house. Emma just recently had a break-in, so that's why she's desperate to find a new place to live, and that's why she's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And Jane just recently lost her baby, and she is in despair, and she's like, I need to do something new, and that's why she's doing this. But Jane learns that the last tenant died. I don't want to spoil much more than that. It was really interesting. Not anything that I have read before or heard of before. Again, the plot twists are great in this book. I haven't really seen any people talking about it, but I definitely liked it. If you also like the theme mystery houses, this could also kind of work in that area as well. But yeah, go check this book out. The next book is called The Wife Between Us by Greer, Hendricks and Sarah Cannon. In this book, you do follow 2 women as well. One is the ex-wife of this man, and the other one is the one who is dating him now, and she is his fiance. A lot of things are going on, and is that ex-wife crazy? Is she trying to do something? Is the husband a weirdo? Is the new fiance? What is her thing? There are a lot of things going on. This book explores more a relationship dynamic. Is it bad? Is it good? What is exactly going on? That's the whole mystery in this book. Who's right in this relationship? So if that's your thing, I think this book could work really well. I think maybe this could also be similar to, what's it called? You know, that book or TV show where she's like looking through the window. The Woman in the Window? Oh. Anyways, I'm gonna put it on the screen. The next book is called Whispers and Lies by Joe Fielding, and I read this some years ago now. So don't come after me if this hasn't aged well, but this is one of the thrillers where I was like, I did not see that coming. And that's why I want to mention it. So if that's your thing, go check out this book. It was a roller coaster. That's what I remember. You do follow Terry, who lives alone. She's a nurse, and then she decides to rent out. I think she has a little cabin in her backyard or something, and that's where Allison comes into the picture, and they become really good friends. Allison is a bit younger, but that's okay. And then stuff is happening, and she's like, what did I get myself into? Allison is crazy. Like, how do I get out of this situation? I don't want to spoil anything else than that. But it was a really interesting read. That's all I'm saying. I haven't seen this book mentioned anywhere. So now you have a new recommendation for you. But yeah, this was really weird. The next book is maybe not a classical thriller, but it is still a thriller. And now we are moving away from the classical thrillers and still thrillers, but you know. Anyways, this book is called Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And if you're looking for a dad recommendation, husband, boyfriend recommendation, maybe this book is something that could do that. My husband just read it and he was like, I did like it actually. So just a recommendation from me. You do follow Jason, and Jason is do you call him a scientist or physicist? I cannot say it. Anyways, in that field. So I think he went out to get ice cream and then he gets kidnapped. And he gets sent to this other world, a multiverse, so to speak. And there he learns that in that world, he was actually the one who invented this machine where you can travel between the multiverses. And everyone thinks that he was the person who actually invented that. And now he's trying to find his way back home. That is basically the plot of this book. It's not, you know, a book with a lot of the classical thriller, plot twist, murder mystery. This is more an action-packed book, thriller. It's a good partner recommendation. I liked it as well. It was really exciting. So maybe like a 4-star from me. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. The next book is called The Last by Hanna Jameson. And this is post-apocalyptic thriller. You do follow these people that are staying at this hotel. And then they see on the television that all the big cities in the world are getting bombed, are getting wiped out. Then the internet goes down, power, everything. So they're just trying to survive in this hotel in Switzerland. And you do follow this man from the US. He's the main character. And at this hotel, there's also a murder mystery there going on at the same time. So it is about a murder mystery and also trying to survive when the world is ending. I like this book as well, like a 4-star again. I do like post-apocalyptic thrillers. So yeah, this book was pretty exciting as well. It would work really well as a movie, I think. But I haven't seen it anywhere. But yeah, if post-apocalyptic vibes are your thing, this could be a good book for that. The next book is a little bit different. This is Dark Academia, but I don't think it goes into like thriller territory. But anyways, there is still something there. And I think this is one of the most famous Dark Academia books that there is out there. You do follow this boy, and he gets accepted into this small university. And at this university, there's this Greek mythology line, but there's only a few students accepted into this line. And he's like, I want to get in. So he fights his way into this group. And I think, as I remember, there were 5 or 6 students there, and then this professor. And you're like, what is up with this professor? What is going on? Weird things are happening. Really weird things. And I don't want to spoil much, but this was such a nerve-wracking book. The more and more you got into it, the people that you're following, they're not good people, you know. So if you can read books where the main characters are not the best, this could be a book for you. You do kind of like follow the villains. It was so weird. And there's a lot to be said about this book, but I don't want to spoil too much. But I put it on the list anyways, because I think it has that nerve-wracking vibe. So go check it out if that's your thing. The next book is called The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And this is a mystery book. And there's also magical realism in this book. So if that's not your thing, then don't read it. Magical realism is not my favorite thing to read, but this book did a good job. You do follow these 2 girls, and then they grow up to be adults, but you also follow one of the girls when she's an adult, but you get it from the perspective of her husband. You're trying to learn what happened to the other girl. their friendship is kind of toxic, and yeah, like I said, there's this magical realism element to it, so they do go to this other world. They want to do everything to become part of that other world that they go and play in. One of the girls is an adult, and you get it from the husband's perspective. He's like, I don't know what happened to her, and she does not want to talk about things, and they have this rule where they cannot ask, and there's a whole mystery going on there. So I'm not going to spoil much more than that, but yeah, this was really interesting again. Not something that I typically read, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, I have heard people are saying mixed things. I can definitely see why this may not be your favorite thing and why other people would really love this book, but that's the thing about magical realism. The next one is also quite interesting. It's called My Husband by Ventura, and it starts with that the wife is sitting down at the dining table and the husband comes in and he's like, listen, we need to talk. And then you go back a week and you do follow the wife and you learn that she's analyzing a whole lot about her husband. And you're like, is she right? Is she wrong? Because she do tell you that she never lies. And then a few scenes later, she goes to the hairdresser. She is always telling a new story every time she is at the hairdresser because she likes to pretend to be other people. And then you're like, can I trust this wife? What is going on here? A bit different, but still with some very nice plot twist again. And you have to analyze, like, what is going on? I'm hungry. What is going on here? Like, yeah, I really like this book. This is also by a French author. So now I have some scary books on the list. And the first one is called The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I almost shit myself watching the Netflix TV show. If you haven't watched that one, it's scary. It's really scary. Even my husband was like, when we were watching it, you know, like, the book is more, I would say, exciting. I was analyzing on it. They are not really that similar at all. So if you haven't seen the TV show, if you haven't read the book, like, they do not compare. But the book, I didn't get scared, but I have heard other people were like, when they were reading the book too. So maybe you could get that feeling from reading this book. But you do follow this professor who invites some people to go stay with him at this haunted house. And weird stuff are happening there. It's like they get possessed one at a time and they do weird stuff. The ending of this book is really iconic as well. So yeah, I also enjoyed reading the book. I don't want to spoil too much, but they are doing this case study of this house to see what's up with this house and why are people scared of it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil much more than that, but it was an interesting read as well. The next two books are by Grady Hendricks, and the first one is called The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I love Grady Hendricks. Oh, I have only read 2 books by him, but these 2 books, I like them. In this book, you do follow Patricia, who is the mother to 2. I think this takes place in the 90s in the southern US. And her husband is a... Anyways, this new man is moving into the neighborhood. Patricia slowly learns that maybe he isn't the best and that he is a vampire and that he is kidnapping and children. That sounded really heavy, but I think this is done a bit more lightly, so I could read it as well. But yeah, it was really exciting as well. I love the vibe that the narrator, I listened to it as an audiobook, was able to do. Grady Hendricks is definitely writing books that are my style, but maybe it isn't for everybody. The next one is called My Best Friend's Exorcism, and you do follow these 2 girls that are best friends. But one of them is getting possessed, and it's about getting people to believe that something is wrong, and her best friend is really fighting for her life. So this book is so good if you're into like friendship vibes, and kind of like had that feeling of Stranger Things, you know, because this also takes place in the 80s. There was just this vibe to it as well, like Stranger Things maybe. Yeah. I need to eat soon. Anyways, I love these two books. So they're a bit scary as well. There is a mystery going on there. They can be nerve-wracking, so that's why I include them on this list. So I have 3 books left, and it's YA books. And the first one is called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is a series. There are 3 books in this series, and it's so good. You do follow this girl who's trying to solve this mystery. And she is writing a school project about it. And it's about this girl who went missing. And her body has never been found. But the guy who got accused of doing this, she's like, he did not do it. So she's teaming up with the brother of the guy who's being accused. They're trying to solve this mystery. And it is just so good. It's so exciting. I have not heard a negative thing about this series. I think everyone is really into it. So if you haven't read it, this is such a good murder mystery book. Yeah, so go check that out. The next YA book is called Neverworld by Marisha Pessl. And in this book you do follow this girl that gets stuck in this time loop thing with her friends. And they are slowly learning why they're stuck in this time loop. There's also a murder mystery going on there. And I don't want to spoil too much, but again, I do like time traveling and time loops and stuff like that, and this is also a great book for that. And there's a mystery. So, if you can read YA, this could be a good book for you as well. And the last book I have is called I Am Still Alive by Kate Alice Marshall. And in this book you do follow this girl who just lost her mom, and then her dad gets custody over her, but she hasn't seen her dad for many years. And then she gets sent to this really secluded place in Canada. And she's like, I don't think this is where I'm supposed to go, but he is apparently hiding for some people. Then stuff is happening, and then she has to live by herself up there in Canada, in the mountains, in the wild. And it's a survival thriller. I will say that I think this book might have worked better for me if I had read it instead of listening to it as an audiobook, because there's a lot of whining in this book, but it was still exciting to read about how she could survive out there. So yeah, that was all the books that I have for you today. There were a lot of books on this list. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found some inspiration, and yeah, you have a good day and good reading to you.